Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to Fools Rush In on Derby Day Eve. And because it's such a momentous occasion, we're kind of mixing things up a bit. We have guests on first, we'll do intro questions second, preview throughout, and anything else that happens along the way. A few little communal notices as going along the bottom. StreamYard is still saying they're having intermittent issues with X. So if you are watching on the app formerly known as Twitter and having any problems, please do move over to Facebook or YouTube, where you should have no problems at all. We are live on all the usual platforms. So wherever in the world you're choosing to tune in tonight, thank you very much. You are more than welcome to get involved via the live chat on Facebook, on YouTube, and as long as it's working, X. Please do get your questions, comments, and anything else besides into us, because our show is as much about you as it is about us. As I say, the intro question is going to be after the first segment, but I'm going to give you time to think, and I'm going to give our panel time to think as well. As many of you will know, if you've seen on my socials, my lad turned 17 today. Yes, I am the parent of a 17-year-old. So what I'd like to know, keep it friendly as best you can, is what do you remember from when you were 17? That is today's, we'll call it an intro question, segment 2 question. What do you remember from when you were 17? It was a long, long time ago for me. That's for sure. Let's say hello to tonight's panel, get our guests on, and we will get straight into it. So representing FRI this evening, we have the creme de la creme of our panelists. He's done his traditional and snuck in during the intro video. Woody's here. Evening, mate.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you, pal. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Sorry, I actually lost track of time. And
That's
then
all
I
right,
realised
no
I
worries.
was due to come on. So
no problem at all.
yeah.
No problem at
Yeah,
all. We also have Rich with us. Evening, Rich.
How we doing, lads? Pilot and co-pilot. Woody's had a trim. Woody's had a trim.
Yeah. The most expensive haircut in the world.
Really?
For anybody who's seen my socials today, I drew some cash out to pay the
Was this
barbers.
when you drew out the 40 quid?
Yeah, and lost that £40, so I had to go back to the cash machine and draw out more. So it's turned into the most expensive haircut ever. And guess what? Alicia hates it. So it's 100%
you just reminded me, Woody. You just reminded me, Woody, to take the 50 quid that was in my pocket out of my jean pockets.
Put it in your wallet.
Rich showing off just 50 quid casually in his pocket.
But I won this. So last night
you found it on the floor in Old Town.
I've nicked it. I went to a player dinner last night. It was Ray Houghton, and got my raffle ticket came out second, and my prize was 50 quid. So I was very, very happy with that. So yeah, no, that was very, very good. Very happy with that. That made my evening.
Rich knows that I'm purposely trying to speed through today's intro, and he's told the longest short story in the world.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Long story short, I stole Woody's money.
Super. Excellent.
Yes, there we go.
We do have a fourth full waiting in the wings as well. Good evening, Ben.
Evening. How are we doing? It's so good to be back on lower league look.
Yes, the lesser spotted Ben has returned. Clearly, date night doesn't extend to today.
I'm surprised Ben's on because we're going to be talking about women and football. So it's.
Hey,
I'm surprised.
If you remember last time you tried to stitch me up about that, and I kind of wiped the floor with you.
I didn't try to stitch you up. You didn't get the hint.
I'm surprised that Ben's drinking red wine and it's not date night.
Well, anyway, I can see James is here. He said hi on YouTube. Sean's here on Facebook. He said evening. And Mike's also on YouTube. Said evening 5. Be great. We've all been focusing on the football in the build-up to tomorrow. Absolutely. Speaking of tomorrow.
Sorry, just very quickly. Ben, has
I knew you would interrupt.
Has date night now turned into prime family time, by the way?
Regurgitating jokes from 2 years ago as well, just to slow me down.
Actually, I like that one. Yeah,
I had to do it. Sorry, it came into my brain. And I had to do it. Go for it.
Go. Tomorrow, aside from being Derby Day,
Fifey, by the way,
off man.
Yeah.
aside from being Derby Day tomorrow,
Who is going to the game tomorrow, by the way?
Ben, shut up or I'm muting you. It's a designated her game to fixture, which means I have the great honour and privilege.
Lunchtime kickoff, Ben.
Every single one of you muted. Every single one of you. Good evening and welcome to FRI. Okay. Holly, evening, Holly.
Hello.
And to Lucy, evening, Lucy.
Hello.
How are you both? You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. We've already talked about my favourite things, I think. Have my hair done and red wine, so I feel very pleased to be here.
See, you feel at home now. I told you. Yeah, FRI isn't scary at all.
But Ben's minus the hair, though.
Yeah.
Ben gets his beard done. I know we've only got you both for a kind of a short period of time, so I wanted to go straight into it and ask some questions and let those watching along ask questions. So, Holly, let's start with you. How important, obviously, as Swindon Town's Her Game 2 ambassador, how important is it that you get these designated games, but also that it's such a high-profile game in our season?
Yeah, so it was one that once the fixtures came out and, the leagues had been shuffled about based on, results last year, I really wanted to aim for, because Her Game 2 has really kind of, I guess, been born out of Bristol, and Lucy will probably attest to that in a little bit. But so it felt like a really, a good opportunity to allocate this fixture. Unfortunately, that could happen with the club. And the importance of the fixture, it just really highlights how, I guess, committed the club are to supporting us, to making Swindon a better place for women in football, in the stands, on the pitch, and for everyone involved, really.
You've been the Swindon Town ambassador now for, I would estimate, 12, 14, possibly 16 months or so. How have you found that as a challenge, and are you already starting to see positive outcomes, rewards, however you would describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's been probably a bit of embedding time for me to get used to how the club works, how, Swindon and women, as fans kind of, have the involvement, and also get used to, what being an ambassador is, and very new to the campaign as well. I think what I've seen so far is a huge amount of support, which, I feel really lucky and fortunate to have, both from the club and from, fellow supporters, and lots of the supporters groups as well, lots of the podcasts like yourselves. And I think it's really encouraging to have that support, because I think there are so many good people involved, in Swindon, that feels, a really good place to be. And also more recently, we've seen more reporting. So when I first started, didn't really have much to go on in terms of, what people were feeling, how, kind of if there was any problems or issues, what people were experiencing. So one of the things we wanted to do, and I think one of the very first tasks I did with Vicky, was just get, the posters out round the ground so that people can report things anonymously if they want to, or online. And so having more reports enables us to be able to focus, our efforts and understand what, where things, are kind of not going as well, where things, need a bit more focus. And that's been really positive to work with the club on that as well, because, the reports sometimes come direct to them. They sometimes come through us, and sometimes go direct to Kick It Out, since we've kind of partnered with them. So that helps. And I think, the more reporting, the more confident people feel to report stuff, just shows that, there's unity there in terms of making sure that people don't feel that discrimination. And, that varies in, kind of extent of what people are hearing and seeing. But to have those reports, I think is, really, really valuable.
A mutual friend of all of ours, Aaron, has messaged in saying, personal thanks from me to Holly for sharing my stuff in her platform. It's much appreciated. And of course to FRI, always sharing. Aaron, it might not be too long before you're back on our screens. We were talking earlier this week about getting him on as well.
Yeah.
What can, for anyone who's not either attended or noticed, what can people expect from a Swindon Town Game 2 designated match? What might be slightly different to normal tomorrow?
Yeah, so the players will wear our warm-up t-shirts. So we've gone for red this year. We had white last year, and so red club colours, which would be really nice. And we had the opportunity to talk to the players last week to say kind of why they wear those t-shirts as well, which I think is really important. We will have flag bearers also who are from grassroots clubs, and that's very good timing because I think one of my flag bearers has just joined. So that is brilliant. Hello. And yeah, so we will also have our kind of our photos, selfie boards, and some merchandise available in the Junior Reds room in the Legends Lounge as well. So and I think that's really important to know because it's kind of a good way for everyone else to get involved as well, so you can pick up a badge or kind of just come and have a photo. And I think tomorrow is a real opportunity to celebrate women in football, and also being able to celebrate the enjoyment that you have in football together as well.
Absolutely. And Lucy, welcome to FRI. Thank you very much for joining us as well this evening.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Let's start with the important side of this discussion. From your time involved with Her Game 2, how have you seen things generally evolve from kind of the initial, what's the word I'm looking for, like the initial plan of what you were hoping to achieve to where you sit today?
I mean, obviously, Her Game 2 started almost 5 years ago now, and it basically evolved from a conversation between myself and Kaz in a pub in Bristol, just talking about our experiences, which then evolved to us reaching out to other fans, putting out a video on FA Cup final day in 2021, to that video hitting 1 million views in 24 hours and going viral. And then from there, we just decided to do a survey, get other people's experiences, which was really quite telling when, out of all 400 responses, 92% had said that you'd seen sexism online towards another woman in football, and 58% had experienced it themselves online. 58% had experienced it themselves in person, and 63% online, which was really significant. So then obviously working with clubs from the Premier League all the way through to grassroots levels to now, we're almost 5 years on. I think we're partnered with 82 or 81 of the 92. Sorry, we've got over 350 grassroots partnerships. We've done some, what we've managed to achieve over the last 5 years, as all volunteers as well, which is still quite incredible, is something that I'm really proud of. And I think we've kind of built that community of women that supporting other women. We want to be that safe space. We want to be there to support women who have experienced sexism, but also to shine a light on the positives, like the positive grassroots work that's being done, the women that are trailblazing, whether it's coaching or playing or whatever they may be doing, and shining a light on that. So it's kind of evolved really from just kind of our own personal experiences to being like a wider campaign to tackle sexism within sport, and champion for gender equality, not just now in football but across other sports as well.
And how have you found, like you say, you're partnered with such a high percentage of the 92 currently. How have you found forming and forging those connections across the length and breadth of the country? Like you say, from where you started, as you described it, in that pub in Bristol to where you sit now, it's an incredible journey in a relatively short space of time. So have you found connecting all the people all around the country like this?
Yeah, I think for us it's been really interesting because I think at first we started to, obviously we had clubs sharing it on that very first day. We didn't send it to any clubs. We literally just created a Twitter account and just posted it, and that's kind of how it started. But from then, we decided to reach out to clubs once we kind of done our survey. And then I think once we kind of had a couple of clubs kind of first partner up, I think other clubs wanted to get involved. And I think, clubs don't want to be the one that not seen to be champion women in sport and things like that. So yeah, it's been really interesting. And obviously, I guess every club is kind of slightly different in terms of what they can offer and what they can do. Obviously, for example, the opportunities that Holly's had at Swindon, being able to speak to the players, I think is so important because, we want everyone within the club to really understand our messaging. Obviously, it's so important, like being able to share it on social media, for example, and you know, wearing the t-shirts, having that visibility is super important, but actually really understanding the messaging, and the reason why, I think it's just vital, really. And obviously we are really appreciative of all the kind of club partners that we have up and down the country. And I think, you know, this time of year, obviously we've had some dedicated fixtures already this season, because some clubs choose to do it outside of the crazy month, which is March, that we call it, because obviously International Women's Day is next Sunday. But from now, over the next few weeks, we'll have a lot of dedicated fixtures, so which is really, really exciting, to be able to just shine a light on some of the partnerships and some of the work that we're doing, and opportunities where we're able to provide to local women, to local communities and grassroots clubs as well.
I personally have a really positive opinion of what it is that you as an organisation have already done and continue to do, not just with Holly, but some of the other representatives that we've met over the years of doing FRI and stuff that happens again all around the country. But for those who are a bit more skeptical about it, how do you kind of get past the notion that certain clubs use it as a tick box exercise?
I think for us, it's more about, like, actually, I think it's like around the reporting. I think obviously, like Holly kind of mentioned, over the last kind of season or so, we've actually aligned with Kick It Out on a reporting system. So both Kick It Out and Her Game Too will receive any reports of sexism or misogyny that takes place at the ground across any level, which means that they can kind of support with the action side, and we can kind of support with that support of the person who's reported the incident, which I think is kind of like our kind of area, really, because, you know, we are female fans that want to support other female fans and women within football, and I just think that it's just, I think when Kick It Out came to us a few months ago and said this is the most reports they've seen this season, which I guess, like Holly said, I think it's really important that people are reporting, but also kind of highlights there is an issue. And I think, you know, it really kind of shows that actually there is, even though there has been progress, you know, the Lionesses are just incredible, like what they've done, opportunities to please playing at like Wembley. Arsenal women, for example, are playing a lot of their games at the Emirates and have had, you know, some really incredible attendances as well, and other clubs doing different things, like double headers, for example, women's teams coming under the umbrella of men's teams and becoming that one club, obviously is really, really important. And I just think it's, fans, whether you're male or female, you know, you all support the same club at the end of the day. And I think everyone should be made to feel welcome and supported. You know, you're all wearing the same shirt, and it's really sad that we're in 2026 and for some people that's not the same experience. And I feel like whoever you support, you should all be supporting each other, and you know, whether it's someone's first game or whether they've been a season ticket holder for 50 years, you know, we all support on the same team at the end of the day. And I think everyone should be able to enjoy it. So I think for clubs to recognise that and to actually continue to grow that fan base and evolve, you know, like the world is evolving, and, you know, there are people that come together, like families will come together. Sometimes dads and daughters will go together. Sometimes it's mums and daughters, dads and sons, whatever it may be. You know, different age groups as well. I think everyone should be able to enjoy the game without fear or worry of discrimination.
No, I 100% agree. And the way you described it there, I would say was the perfect wording behind it. You said in one of those sentences, everyone supports the same team. This is as busy a screen as we've had in 2026 for people, but we don't all necessarily support the same team tonight. There is a big game tomorrow, and I'm interested, before you both have to disappear, Lucy, I'll stick with you first. I get the feeling from Bristol Rovers fans that we see online, quite fancy maybe taking the points off Swindon tomorrow.
I mean, I don't want to hedge my bets either way, because it could go very wrong, and I don't want to be clipped up and be like, oh yeah, we're going to win, and then be 3-0 down inside 15 minutes. I just do not want that to happen. And I'm also still, I'm still fearful over the game in December. But, you know, a lot has changed since then. Our manager's changed. And yeah, I think, you know, we've had quite a lot of personnel change over January. And yeah, you know, obviously December was not a great game, but you know, I've been to the county ground many times over my years watching games. I've seen us win, I've seen us lose, I've seen us draw, I've seen games abandoned, if anyone remembers that one in the rain, which I hope doesn't happen tomorrow. But you know, I feel like it could be quite a close encounter. For us, you know, we played Grimsby last week. We actually played really well, and we deserved 3 points. So for us, I think it's just about consistency. We haven't had that all season, and just kind of giving ourselves a bit of a gap away from the dreaded bottom two, and just kind of pulling away. But obviously, I know that you are a little bit further up the table and doing quite well. So yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting game tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll be a lot closer than the last time. And who knows? I'm going to be pragmatic and not going to give any predictions because I do not want to get it wrong.
Fair enough about the predictions. You mentioned obviously you've had a change of manager since we played you a couple of months back. It's perhaps not quite gone as you maybe hoped. It's not been terrible, but it's not maybe been quite as good as you hoped. What are some of the fundamental changes though since Evans came in?
I just feel like we're a bit more creative. We've offered a bit more like up front. We've brought in a Kamarich from Spurs, who has been a real bright spark up front.
Everyone's talking about him as well.
Yeah, he's really impressive. I've been really, really impressed every time I've watched him play. And yeah, I think what I said last week was I felt like we've got a bit more creativity and like goals coming from other areas of the pitch, whereas before it just felt like it was just Cavan. We've changed our goalkeeper as well, which I was kind of surprised about. Like midway the season, we had Southwood, we've gone to Brad Young instead. So that's been a slight surprise, and I think that's kind of changed things as well. The defence still a little bit shaky, but we have kind of got a couple of new heads that have come in. Harbottle's injured, unfortunately, and I've really quite been impressed by him. We've got Smallwood as well, who's a little bit of an older head, and things like that. We've had a few injuries here and there and everywhere as well. So yeah, I feel like that it's a bit more of a collective unit now. There's still a lot of work to be done, and I just think for us it's just keeping ourselves out of the bottom two and pushing a little bit further up the table I'd be quite happy with at this point now. And then hopefully, you know, Steve Evans was talking to the media today and he seems happy, but you never know. And I personally would like him to stay. I think, you know, I honestly wasn't too sure of him. I've obviously seen him in previous years at other clubs and been not so keen on his character, but since he's come in at Rovers, I've certainly, you know, he's certainly been all for us, and, you know, the way he's kind of spoken in the media and stuff, I've really quite taken to him. So yeah, I just hope that we can kick on and have a decent rest of the season, even though there's only a couple of months left to go.
The last time, just going back there, Lucy, the last time Richie Smallwood was at the county ground, he got sent off after 20 minutes. So just thought I'd drop that into
that. I will make sure to mention that to my friends on the train up tomorrow, because that'll be and also
Joe Quigley also always scores against us too. So
yeah, he's actually, it's quite funny about him because when he signed from Oldham on transfer deadline day, he was getting quite a lot of stick from their fans, like being like, "Oh, they'll do nothing." And actually, I've really liked him. He's been and I think because Gaven's quite small and quite quite light as a player, actually having Quigley on alongside him has actually really helped both of them out. And he's definitely been we haven't had that sort of player to like really hold up the ball, and he's definitely done that job pretty well. And I think he's had like 2 or 3 goals and a couple of assists as well since he's come in. So yeah, hopefully he does carry on that goal scorer run tomorrow.
And Holly, for you, aside from, I'm sure, feeling a certain level of pressure to make sure everything goes well before, during and after the game, how are you feeling about the game itself?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I feel like the last couple of games where we've really struggled in the first half. I just don't want to see that again. I want us to come out strong really quickly and, hopefully put the game to bed before, half time, Lucy. Sorry about that. But yeah, I don't know. I think the atmosphere hopefully will be brilliant from looking at all, the activity that's going on, the streamers in the town end, the scarves. As well as all our Her Game 2 things. I'm really hoping, that spurs us all on, and the atmosphere on the pitch for the players, mirrors that really, and we see some early progress. But yeah, I do feel nervous, if I'm honest, because Rovers have been on a bit of a comeback, it feels like. So not to any level of detail I followed to, other than seeing a few good results. But it just feels like it could go either way. But yeah, fingers crossed it starts strong.
No, I understand that. I was saying to Rich before we went live, he was saying about confidence levels, and I said it's one of those fixtures where I feel we're either going to absolutely destroy them 4 or 5, or we're going to lose narrowly. I don't think there's anything in between. The only thing me and Ben said before we went live was this definitely has both teams to score written all over it, because the same defensive frailties that Lucy was talking about, we certainly suffer with as well. So definitely. But then now that I've said that, it's got guaranteed 0-0 written all over.
Yeah.
So,
after all the build-up, if it's 0-0, we're going to be gutted, aren't we? Really?
Yeah. 0-0's not a great result for anybody.
No.
Listen, I know that we only have you for a short period this evening, so I wanted to take the minute just to say thank you both for your time. And if starting a show with a Her Games 2 flag waving on the bottom of the screen wasn't a sign that today, or tomorrow I should say, is going to go fantastically well, then I don't think we could get a better sign at all. Lucy, thank you for your time. I would say good luck, but obviously for tomorrow, it wouldn't mean anything. For the rest of the season, though, good luck. But hopefully tomorrow goes our way. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah, and likewise, obviously, I hope tomorrow goes our way. But obviously, wishing you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season. After tomorrow, obviously.
Absolutely, and we'd certainly love to welcome both Holly and Lucy back on at another time in the future to talk more about Her Game 2 and more initiatives that are coming forward. But to both of you, enjoy tomorrow. Thank you for your time tonight, and keep up the great work with Her Game 2. And we'll be sure to carry on sharing stuff across all our socials and talking about it on your behalf.
Yeah, thank you for your support, because you have been amazing as well. So, and I know all you guys do for women in football as well, coaching and things. I think that's really valuable. So really appreciate it, and very much looking forward to seeing Annie tomorrow. So in that t-shirt, hopefully, or maybe one that fits better, because I think that's an extra large, isn't it? Next year's one from last season. So might have a nice little red one for you tomorrow instead.
Fantastic. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Carrying on
Lucy
the conversation.
Time she went.
Yeah,
she's gone.
She's like, I've graced those Swindon fans with enough of my time.
I'm just going to go throw up.
Fair. Yeah. It's fair.
No, honestly, fantastic half an hour opening from them, talking very serious matter, and then starting our preview. Before we carry on the preview, I did offer up an intro question. I hope, Barry, you would have missed it, but the rest of the guys heard it. So I'll come to you last, Barry, so you've got time to think about it. In celebration of Aidan turning 17 today, I want to know something you all remember from when you were 17, keeping it as family friendly as possible, because obviously we are a very family friendly show. Woody, what was it like when you were 17?
Well, you've ruined it, because you said it had to be family friendly.
Yeah, I was going to say, mine ain't family friendly.
The only thing I could probably think of is obviously that's college years, and I remember having a lot of house parties, because
Woody.
I think that kind of year in particular, kind of the first leading into the second year of college. I think my parents and my younger brothers went on holiday a few times, and let's just say I definitely remember that kind of last minute spring clean just before they got home. I'm still convinced to this day they didn't know I had them, which we all know will not be the case. But yeah, they were good times. They were good times. Probably the best bit about college, to be fair.
Ben, 17 was a little while ago for you, but I'm sure you have fond memories.
Yeah, 17 was 1997 for me.
I was 1.
What was it? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, 1997. I played for a little bit for Soren Academy under Dave Hockaday at the time, and Any Pacific started working on Holiday Park as well. I think I was working there at 1997. Nothing I can say that's particularly funny that's family friendly. But yeah, no, I had a great time.
9:34 p.m. on a Friday. No one's expecting.
Yeah, but there's also a current company present that probably is not for ears of.
This is true.
But yeah, no, the holiday part probably was some of the best years of my life. I do recommend anyone getting their first job to work at one of them places, because it really isn't a job. It's a social life, and living on site as well. You get up to quite a bit, shall we say. So yeah, I remember 1997 quite fondly.
I was just going to spit some in-betweeners quotes here, but I can't. It's really annoying.
Rich. 17 Sorry, wasn't that long ago for you.
No, it wasn't.
Last week, wasn't
it? Yeah, quite literally. Going to be 13 years ago this year. That's scary. That's scary. No, I remember first day I turned 17. I remember I had my first driving lesson, as every 17-year-old probably does. So yeah, I remember racing around in a little Renault Clio at 15 miles per hour. So not really racing around. And yeah, like Woody said, I remember going to probably my first house party when I was 17. It's probably the first real time where, not the first time I drank, but it was probably the first night that obviously go a bit crazy and stuff like that, and have more than the one or two under the old parent supervision, isn't it? So yeah, that was probably probably what I was doing when I was 17.
Seen a fair few in the chat.
Probably it was.
Seen a fair few in the chat. Mike said, I remember the best decades, the 90s. Sean said his was easy, the appointment at Lou Macari. And then Pete's just come in as well. When I was 17, I enjoyed going to the pub and drinking BBB. Someone will have to explain. You know, I'm not a drinker.
BBB?
Is that BBBQ? For the extra B is for BYOBB. But that B was a typo.
Okay, I'm very confused. I'm far too tired to follow what's happening.
If you know, you know.
Snake pipes. Do you remember snake pipes and black? Drinking them when you're 17 as well. Is it half lager, half cider, a bit of blackcurrant?
For those listening back on audio only, Barry joined us half the way through the Her Game 2 section. He's just been sat there quietly listening, waiting for his opportunity to speak. Barry, I am interested to know a memory you have from when you're 17, but I'm also, because you did have Annie sat there, I was tempted to ask what you think she'll be like at 17.
Same as she is now, a pain in the backside, I imagine.
What was a memory for you at 17?
It's got to be sixth form socials, I think. Abusing the pubs around Bassett.
Nice.
That's that, and working a lot. But yeah, definitely lots of underage drinking on sixth form socials.
Amazing stuff. We're an advocate for living life properly here on FRI, that's for sure. Guys, we do have Derby Day to talk about. Bristol Rovers at home tomorrow lunchtime. It's worth saying that Derby fever is in the air, if you can loosely call it that. And a potential shock on the cards, as to my right, I can see that Wolverhampton Wanderers are currently beating Aston Villa 1-0 with a little over 10 minutes to go. So there we go. Barry, I'm going to start with you, because tomorrow we have two of the EFL's all-time great characters. We, as Swindon fans, we may not have always liked the man in the Bristol Rovers dugout, but we can't deny he is one of the great EFL characters. This has the potential to be a real showcase on the touchline, doesn't it? Of Shakespearean proportion.
It's definitely going to be dramatic on the other side of the pitch. Yeah, I should have a grandstand seat for it. To be fair, if I can see that far. Yeah, they're going to be a good set of characters to have in the dugouts tomorrow. Should make for an interesting lunchtime.
And they're both historic. I mean, we know the facts of Holloway, but historically, both managers like to get emotionally wrapped up in their clubs that they're representing at that time. So the fact that this is considered something of a derby day as well is only going to heighten those theatrics, Barry.
It's going to be a lot more energetic, I think. He's going to be moving down the touchline a lot quicker than he did last time he was there.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, we will see. We will see.
Woody, how are you? Before we talk about specifics to do with Swindon and the approach, how are you feeling about tomorrow? I know you're personally very disappointed because of other factors you can't go, but how are you feeling about the game itself?
Strangely confident. I feel that it may be finally time that Steve Evans doesn't shithouse us. Yeah, I'm strangely confident for tomorrow, which probably means we're going to get thrashed. But one thing's for sure, it does feel kind of the build-up. It does feel like it's going to be a bit more of an atmospheric game, which is what I think is what we need as a fan base. Yeah, so Bristol Rovers will come with all guns blazing, but in the greatest respect. I know this is going to bite me. Don't clip this. But in the greatest respect, they are 20th. We are wherever we are at the moment. So it's yeah. I think I'm feeling relatively confident. For me, it's I think we'll see a reaction from the players over the last compared to the last few performances.
I remember the last time when we played them when they were in 20th and they ended up getting automatic promotion and we stayed down.
Yep.
Yeah, but that ain't happening this year.
In the words of Mick McCarthy, it can. No,
it won't.
It's probably mathematically, well, I don't know if it's mathematically impossible now, but they'd have to win probably every game. But yeah. Yeah.
In the Ben, in the biggest pot calling the kettle black comment of the season, James has just said in the chat, their defense is absolutely awful. I've watched their last 3 games back. Shocking, honestly. Is this, when we talk about previews, we normally say, where's this game won and lost? Is it a simple case of whose shit defense is less shit on the day?
No, I think it's got all the it could be a proper rough and tumble thunder and brimstone type derby. If you think, I'd love to be in a fly on the wall on both pre-team managers team talks. Both of them are very similar. Both shithousing managers. Both like to prep their teams with hype them up, shall we say? Motivational. That's the word I'm looking for. So I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see quite a tense game, to be fair. I do agree with you. I think both teams will score, but I don't think it'd be one on who makes some more defensive errors. I think both teams have got quite good attacking. Best attributes are quite attacking. And I think both teams will know that. So both teams might be a little bit more wary of each other's attack. I just hope ours shines through more than theirs. It's a game we should win, but it's a derby, and it's all on the day, isn't it? So you don't know for sure.
Rich has already kind of been mentioned, both in the panelists and in the chat, that there's a lot going on tomorrow, aside from what is a big game, not just for both teams, but realistically in League Two, both ends of the table, this is a big game. You've also got the Her Game 2 stuff going on, as has been said. You've got a big push online from fans to bring the noise, bring the atmosphere, the ticker tape in the town end, the scarves in both the main stands. Bristol Rovers seem to be bringing a decent contingent with them as well. This has everything to be a kind of throwback if things go to plan, where there'll be it's as much what's happening off the pitch as much what's happening on it.
Well, I mean, you just hit the nail on the head there, Fifey. I mean, in 2026, we're watching two of probably the best EFL managers that have ever managed in the EFL, to be honest with you. I mean, it's quite a nostalgic moment, to be honest with you. Both had very successful managerial careers, and they're still having that as well. I mean, Evans has come into Bristol Rovers having that impact like Holloway did when he came in. Obviously, it was a little bit slow sailing at the start when he was trying to find his feet and trying to get the players all aligned as to what his best squad was. And Evans has obviously had to try and do that as well, because obviously there's been Bristol Rovers have had a lot of bad luck in the past couple of years. So since they were in League One and then obviously getting relegated, and they've been sat at the bottom of League Two majority of the season. So, you know,
in the nicest possible way, and I will let you finish your point. I just need to jump in. But they've had some bad luck. Let's not forget, they were fortuitous enough to come up against an under-12 team to get promoted in the first place.
You'll have to.
Well, that was the whole thing why them and that's the whole thing why them and Northampton.
Oh, sorry, yeah, against Scunthorpe. Sorry, yes, of course. How could I forget? That's 7-0 against Scunny when they played their academy players. Yes, of course. And like I say, we can't read too much into as to why that happened or what happened there. But at the end of the day, they were bottom of the league that season, and they rose all the way up to the automatic promotions, and fair play to them. And we've got to make sure that they don't make that great escape again. We've got to take all 3 points off them tomorrow, because I mean, obviously we want to get promoted. I mean,
it's just as great as theirs,
yeah, exactly. So, you know, but they're gonna have their tails up, you know, they're gonna come into this game all guns blazing, like Woody said. It's going to be a big crowd. They've sold out their allocation. We're not far off it ourselves. So, you know, hopefully we will bring a great atmosphere tomorrow. And like I say, we've given Steve Evans a lot of stick in the and he is a bit of a dick, but people would say the same about Holloway. And, you know, I think these are the two greatest shithouse EFL managers to probably be in the EFL. So, you know, I think I think, in the words of Rio Ferdinand, let's just enjoy it. You know, we are lucky enough to actually be in the presence of two very good managers, and you know, hopefully this will be a very tight contested game, but we take away all 3 points. Most importantly,
to answer James's question in the chat, sorry, Woody. No, I'm not. It's Aidan's birthday weekend, so I can't swing that one. I won't be there, so unfortunately. I'd love to be, but not. Sorry, Woody, you were going to jump in.
Well, no, I was actually really interested when Rich said about the two of the greatest EFL managers, which I don't disagree with. However, what I didn't know is Steve Evans has more managerial games than Mr. Holloway, and quite a significant amount as well. Mr. Holloway is now on 1,068. In case anybody didn't know, he has reached 1,000 games.
He never mentions it.
He never mentions it. Steve Evans, now granted, nearly 400 of those were at Boston, who I think were non-league at the time when he was with them. But either way, that's still professional football management. 1,271 games. Wow. We could argue we've got the inexperienced manager out of the two. So let's hope that the I've got over 1,000 games doesn't come out in the post-match.
What about their playing careers as well? Because obviously they both had quite successful playing careers as well.
No, Steve Evans had a dreadful playing career. He played up in Scotland, didn't he? He only played 168 games in his playing career.
Really? I swear he played more than that. Fair enough.
Although to his credit, he did score 42 goals in those 168 games.
He probably had a lot of injuries then.
Yeah, very Blair Sturrock of him. But yeah, it's yeah. So
yeah. Barry, I flashed up a comment a few moments ago from AFC Bedouin, who said early goal to settle the nerves. Holly mentioned it earlier as well. Swindon really cannot afford in this game of all games to just sort of potter about for the first 45 minutes, can they?
No, the first half's going to be key. If we have a repeat of the last few games where they come out and stutter and make a right pig's ear of it, Rovers will just have them for the taking, I reckon, tomorrow. As long as we come out firm from the start and keep the pressure up, we should be all right. But yeah, shaky start will prove to make the game a lot harder than it needs to be against those guys, that's for sure.
Woody, when it comes to, again, we've mentioned the two managers already, knowing what both teams are capable of. Do you see this being a physical, competitive battle where you need your warriors out there for as long as possible? Or is this going to be two teams playing football, trying to, trying to play the beautiful game the beautiful way?
Well, we're not that team yet, are we? But I would. When we think about derbies probably aren't really what they used to be. In fact, I was watching the Wolves Villa game just before we came on, and I think there was a little bit of fisticuffs in the kind of last 5 minutes of the first half. And that was all stemmed by one player for Wolves, really. But but I think given. I'm not going to say that Evans always plays ugly, because I think he's got a knack of going to teams that don't always have the greatest of pitches, don't always have the great. So he adapts very well. I would expect it to be a little bit still rough and tumble, but when you look at some of the players he's got in there, Josh McEachran, Joel Cottrell, obviously, Kamil Conte, sorry, and I'm just having a look at that. I think. Was it Laura? Sorry, that was on earlier. Or Lucy. What was her name? Was it Laura or Lucy? Sorry. Lucy. I think she said that Fabricio Cavan's injured, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what she said, but I could be wrong. They've also got a player called Promise, which is just a fucking great name. But I'm not worried about the lad from Spurs, because if you're not good enough to get into Spurs' first team at the moment, then you can't be that good. But yeah, no. So they've got some half decent footballing players, but at the same time, they've kind of got players that are very athletic, if I could use a term, and will be able to switch to what we know is the Steve Evans shithouse style. And I think they haven't had a great run in at the Rovers at the moment, but it's I think they will try to get under especially some of our lighter players. They'll try to get under their skins a little bit, I think. But we don't actually have that many lighter players anymore. So we've proven that we can win ugly. Do I think the game will be ugly tomorrow? I actually don't, because I'm not there. So it's probably going to be one of the best games of EFL football ever played. But yeah, it's so I don't think it's going to be a rough and tumble at all.
Well, James is predicting in the chat that we're going to score 3+ tomorrow. So I wish I shared his confidence. That's for sure. Ben, on that subject, and I'll be honest, because I've been out, obviously celebrating Aidan's birthday, I didn't have much time to prepare for tonight's show. So I haven't listened to Holloway's press conference like I normally would. So I don't know if I'm missing key facts. I'm sure I would have picked it up in the chat otherwise. This game requires, for want of a better term, players basically playing in their proper positions, doesn't it? So what by that I mean, Clark in midfield is a must in this game. Surely he can't be playing at the back again.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Clark must start in midfield. I've not listened to this interview as yet. I've only got the gist of injury-wise, Billy Bowden's back training and will be in the squad. Other than that, it's the same as last week. He says Taft's not ready yet. He might be bullshitting. He often does. We've known before when he's had players. Yeah, he's not. Many players have not been ready. But we know James Ball's back again. I really don't want to see. I really don't want to see a back three of James Ball and on Ollie Clark. And we need some proper and Betty's. He's got to start really, isn't he? And I just want to see Clark in midfield more than anything, because he needs to be at the heart of this team. Because for us to win tomorrow, he needs to be round the middle of the park, biting legs off, and being Ollie Clark, because the game's built for him. This is why we got games to him, is for games like this. So he has to be at the heart of midfield. Defenders. Well, that's let's see what we got. Really, that's the one position that we are a bit short of, and hope that Knight LaBelle is fit and Mbete plays. James Ball's okay, even though he's a midfielder, and we look okay. And I just secretly hope Taft's actually not that bad and is back in the team. We'll hope that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Is this a game for experienced heads to really come to the front and lead by example, Rich? We obviously mentioned Clark there, but if available, is this got a Tafazoli and Wright being reinstated into the defence? Is this a start Palmer possibly with Drinan to have those experienced heads, or do you think what you've seen from some of the younger players? We've all said about Mbete's qualities, is probably our best defender. He should start. Obviously, Fletcher Holman's been adopted essentially as one of our own in double quick time, so he should be let loose on Rovers as well.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of leaders, I think we should always. I think every player should be their own leader. You've got to go out and want it, especially where we are in a promotion chase. You've got to have every player communicating on that pitch, and if they're not, then you're going to get found out. Absolutely. In terms of players, I mean, I still don't think Holloway's found his best team yet, if I'm being brutally honest. I mean, there are combinations that he continues to play that just do not work. Hence, Wright and Tafazoli, for some reason, I just don't feel that works. And then who's the other one that I just don't think works?
Palmer and Drinan.
Yeah, I think that as well. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. And then Nichols and Kilkenny as well. I'm not overly comfortable, but I think he'll play them too tomorrow, just because they've played pretty much every game this season. But yeah, I think he needs to find that right balance, and he needs to find that he needs to play the players that are in form at the moment. And there are certain players that he continues to pick that just aren't producing on the pitch. And it's that can be quite frustrating. And you can sort of get a sense from the lineup whether or not it's going to be a good side or not. I mean, I know we said that against Barnet and we went 1-0 down within 6 minutes, but we still resurrected that and we won the game 2-1. But I had a good sense of that game. Whereas last week, I didn't have that sense that we were going to get a result. So, it's difficult, but I think Holloway's got to start biting the bullet a little bit and actually, sort of realise that Mbete is actually needed potentially in that team, and that he is probably been one of our best defenders this season, despite not getting the game time that he deserves. And for whatever reason that Holloway decides not, I know he's made comments saying that he lacks focus and stuff like that, which makes sense as to why he takes him off after 60 minutes. But at the same time, though, you look at the interceptions and the other stats that he probably has got. He is one of our better defenders. And you look at the games we've won with him in the team, speaks for itself. So it's quite frustrating, but at the same time, though, he's got to bite the bullet and he has got to put out the best possible squad. And whether or not that's fully experienced or whether or not that's a mix of players, which I think is what he should do, is find that balance, then we have to back what he decides. But you will get that sense from when the lineup comes out at 11:45 or whatever it is tomorrow, and 11:45 even, and we'll probably all have our opinions and make our choices of how it's going to go.
Barry, there's been a lot of talk, as was mentioned earlier, about the on loan Spurs lad at Bristol Rovers. But I saw James comment a moment ago that this is the perfect game for Ola Kigby. Do you think this is the game for him to really stand up and kind of say, here I am, I've arrived on the stage? Because there's been moments and there's been sort of half performances, but I maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm being harsh, but I don't feel we've quite seen that total performance from him yet. Is this the perfect time for him to kind of say, here I am, this is what I can do?
Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, he's been a darn sight better than Prince Will, that's for sure. But he seems to have, as much as the performances have been good from him, he's kind of fallen behind the Holman bandwagon, so to speak, because everybody's just jumped on Holman. So he's going to have to pull something miraculous out of the bag for people to notice it, because they're all too focused on what Holman's doing. So it's kind of the prime game for him to come out and do it and get the recognition for it, I think.
Do you think he starts tomorrow, Barry?
I'd like to see him start, yeah.
Okay. Ben, I've just seen Sean's comment there. Probably would have been a total sellout at 3 p.m. There has been that talk, as we said, about atmosphere, crowd numbers, a fairly big attendance compared to our average tomorrow. But as we've kind of mentioned in previous games, do you think the fact that it is lunchtime is going to affect the number being as high as it could have been?
A little bit. I think everyone knows it's 12:30, so I don't think people have made their minds up between the hours of 12 and 3 p.m. whether to go or not. And unless you're travelling some distance, I think you probably would go anyway. I think the atmosphere is going to be pretty good tomorrow. I don't think it's going to feel like it's 12:30 because Rovers have sold out. So in theory, they've got like 2,700. They've got the full amount bit of the bank. So it will forcibly generate atmosphere between the two. It's going to feel a bit old school, and actually we've not actually seen the countdown for a few years, which is nice. So I think
open tomorrow.
Yeah, they got the bank. I think they got the bank. Yeah.
Fair.
I don't know how open the bank is, whether they've got all of it or just half of it. I don't know, but they have got the bank open. So I think there's 12,000 tickets sold, so it's going to be pretty charged up. It's going to be good. It's going to be it's going to have that intense feel of a big game, which is something that's not in League Two. So I'm looking forward to it.
Woody, last week I listened with great interest to the preview you gave to the game, and I commented afterwards that I thought you were bang on when you said this is Swindon's chance. Although we don't necessarily like lunchtime kickoffs, this was Swindon's chance to put pressure on the teams around us, and obviously that completely didn't go to plan. Given everything that's happened since, how the league table is now, forgetting even the fact that it's Bristol Rovers, is it kind of roles reversed this time and all the pressure is on Swindon and not this is our chance to put pressure on the other teams?
To be totally honest, I do see the angle that you're coming from, but at the same time, I think there's quite a lot of pressure on all of that top seven at the moment. I think because even, Bromley, I still think Bromley are probably going to do enough to win the league. But at the same time, they could be second place tomorrow. I think, in fact, they could be second place before kickoff because aren't Cambridge lunchtime kickoff as well? I think. I'm sure Cambridge are lunchtime kickoff. And if Cambridge win, they'll go top. If Bromley don't.
Yeah. What a game! Cambridge MK Dons.
Oh yeah, I knew it was something like that. I knew it was near the top end of the table.
By the way, it's also Shrewsbury Walsall.
Yeah,
at lunchtime. There's 3 lunchtime games.
Also, just got over the non-relegation point mark. So, but yeah, it's So I think there's a lot of pressure on all of those teams. Yes, I think. Whilst I agree with points on the board always helps, I do think there is probably a bit of an additional pressure for us because, yes, teams have to win their games in hand. I totally get that. But is for me the concern
They're
is
up there for a reason.
there's the amount of teams that have got a game in hand. We're not just talking about one team's got a game in hand of us. We're talking nearly every single team except for 2 in the top 10 have got a game in hand of us. Some of them have got 2. So I do think that's probably adding more pressure on than anything else. But I do think in terms of Cambridge will feel the pressure tomorrow because their fans will want them, regardless of how well Cambridge are doing, their fans will want them to be top of the league at 3:00. So it's, and obviously they could ruin a good informed Milton Keynes side. So, I mean, obviously a draw would suit us brilliant for that, wouldn't it? But it's because if it is a draw, I think we could win 6-0 and go above Cambridge. But it's but again, you do probably put a bit of pressure on if you are winning at lunchtime because the teams that are playing at 3:00 know they need to win. But I think at this stage of the season, when you've only got between 13 and whatever many games left, I think the pressure's just all over now. I don't buy into the pressure just on one team or 2 teams now.
Okay. So Barry, let me come to you then. The question always seems to be: are we going with a back 3 or a back 4? How do Swindon approach this tomorrow? Whether that be tactically, mentality approach, however you want to come at this. How do Swindon go about this to make sure it's not a Shrewsbury? It's not a. Because with all due respect to Bristol Rovers, despite the qualities they do have, they are a team at the bottom end of the table. Swindon should be looking at this and saying, let's get this 3 points. Both teams are where they are for a reason. We should be better than them.
Well, hopefully they don't treat it like a cup final because they fucked the last few up that they tried to do that. They've just got to come out all guns blazing. Really, that is their only option. They cannot come out like they have done. Because I don't think it really matters how they set up. To be honest, the players just have to perform. They're not going to have the opportunity not to.
And I suppose, when we think about the last home game against Crewe, it took us 65 minutes to have a shot on target. It just can't be that again, can it, Barry?
No, the pressure has to be there. And they've got to, even if it's half-assed chances, they have to take them, because the longer they go without making an attempt is just the more impetus for Rovers to put the pressure on even more at the other end. And that's where we'll struggle. So we've got to rely on getting as many goals in as we can, because the defence is so leaky at the moment.
Yeah,
that is our only option, really.
Rich, I know as we go through eras, the game itself changes a bit, but is this still the sort of fixture with everything riding on it for both teams that there is? Is this still the sort of game where you look at it and think, the first challenge sets the atmosphere, sets the tone for the game? Is it still having that first shot on target, causing that first ooh from the stands? All that is still important.
No, I personally, no, I don't think it is. Okay. I think tomorrow we know we're going to have the majority of possession. So I think we will probably have more shots than they do. But again, on the flip side of that, where they're not in possession, they're going to look and try and break us. So we've got to be on our guard. And again, like I say, it's sort of both defenders obviously very shaky. So they're going to try their luck, and they're going to try and go for a snatch and grab because they need the points more. Well, I think both teams obviously need the points, but they're in a relegation battle. We're at the other end of the table. So it's like, when you look on the face of it, it's like, who needs the points more? Well, obviously we need them to go up, but they need them to actually survive and be, you know, a full-time professional football club and not be a non-league. So it's one of those ones, and they won't want to face us. Well, they'll probably want to face us after last week's performance, but on a grand, quite a big crowd, you know, they're going to try and chance their luck, and they want to send 10,000 Swindon fans home very disappointed. So no, I don't think it will be. And you have seen a snatch and grab quite recently, Fifey, and I think you will probably know that the first shot on target doesn't necessarily mean that the result is going to go that way. So yeah, I don't think it's that old sort of cliche anymore. I just think it's going to be a very hard battled game, and it's anybody's to play for. It really is. But I don't think whoever comes out firing first is necessarily going to win the game.
Woody, a follow on from that same question, if I can. Do you feel that if Swindon don't come out firing like Barry was saying earlier, is it more likely to be the Swindon fans, despite the league position and everything Rich was just saying, is it the Swindon fans that you will naturally feel the nerves from as opposed to the Bristol Rovers fans?
I don't think the performance will drive that. I think it'll be the case of what Rovers do. If Rovers score first, that's when we'll get, you know, I think, who's the lad that scored against us that never scores ever? Quigley. He did a presser with Rovers after their Grimsby win, and he highlighted there very much the importance of them scoring early and them scoring first. So if they do score first, and especially if it's someone like Quigley, then I think that's when we probably get a bit shaky. But I think at the same time, it's a case of we've been in this position before. We know how to recover from it. So I'd like to think, although it's going to be a very different type of crowd, isn't it? Because we've had probably 5,000-6,000 home fans previously. We're now talking there's an extra 3,000-4,000 on top of that. So that's 3,000-4,000 different opinions coming in, you know, because you're still always going to get, there's always going to be that one fan out of 5 who thinks we could be 4-0 up, but we've still played poor, aka Fifey. But there will also be those fans where we'll be 4-0 down and we could still win this game 5-4, aka me and Ben. But it's so yeah, I do think the biggest thing tomorrow will be players playing with hearts on their sleeve is what's going to get the reaction from the fans. I think if it's going to take a crunching tackle, it's going to take a bad refereeing decision to get that atmosphere really, really going. It's not going to take pretty football. Pretty football is not going to get that atmosphere going. It's going to be driven probably by something out of our control, which is, you know, I've always said sometimes the best games are those where you see a shit couple of decisions, you see a bad yellow card, you see a player do a sliding tackle 30 yards across the pitch. You know, those are the type of games that are always going to build atmospheres, not the ones where we've knocked 755 passes together against their 300. And like Rich said, in some ways, and you alluded to in the last question, shots will also drive. That's something we can control. So that's what I'm thinking. Holloway's going. He'll want, although he seems to have an agenda against the fans, he'll say in that dressing room, he'll be there going, right, you know what you've got to do to get the fans on, you know, behind you. Get those shots away early, hit a post, make the keeper pull a save off, you know, all of that kind of stuff is what's going to get the fans going. If it's stuff that we're talking about, what we can control that. And we should control that. We should control the possession. We should be controlling how many shots we have on. But
getting the ball in the back of the net would also help, would it?
Well, yeah. But again, we can't always control that. So it's, but yeah, it's it will be those type of things. But just keeping possession is not going to keep the fans going. In fact, given some of my biggest frustrations probably over the last 5 years is actually we find more fans get irritated when we are keeping possession because we seem to be not getting it forward quick enough, or we start getting the forward chance and stuff like that. Now we've got to be prepared that Steve Evans will probably prepare his team for a bit of a smash and grab potentially. So they will bank up. They will try to shit house. They will try to time waste. So naturally, and this is probably a message from me to the Swindon fans, we are going to have a lot of the ball. We are going to have to pass the ball around at the back a little bit because that's the only way you can draw teams out. Yes, there will be a creative spark every now and then, but unfortunately, the more creative spark we have, the less fight, the less determination we will have, because you just very rarely can have both in the team at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get that. The more, I suppose the right way of describing it is the more Hoyle or Ola Kigby or Oldacre, for example, you have in the team, the less Clark you have in the team.
Yeah, and this is why players like, although he's obviously now my all-time favourite player, this is why Fletcher Holman goes down so well, because his work rate is brilliant, his determination is brilliant, but he's actually got a very good piece of quality attached to him as well. And that's why he goes down so well. And that's why players like Drynan, we always see when he's not having a good game, because we're not seeing that fight and determination and things like that. So, it'll be things like that that will, like I say, scoring early, Rich is right. Scoring will get us going. Shots will get us going. That's the things we can control. But we will be knocking the ball around at the back. So we're going to need a shit decision by a referee, I think, to get the atmosphere really going.
So you said this earlier in the monologue, and I found that very interesting. And I don't know whether subconsciously it's because you heard the same thing I did. But before we went live, obviously, as I said, I had the Villa Wolves game on, and the commentator in that game said, I often find in derbies, a referee upsetting the home fans is what gets the game going. Because that's the sort of thing that ignites them into life. So very interesting that you say that at the same time. I have one more question before we do predictions. I will ask it to Ben. Before we do that, Sound Trauma has brought up a fantastic point here. If Town lose tomorrow, how long until someone says Holloway is a gas head? Absolutely.
On the whistle. It will be on the whistle.
I don't think he'll even be on the whistle. I think if we go 1-0 down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ben, last question then before the predictions. Do you see any shocks, surprises, any other term you want to use in our starting 11 tomorrow? Or is it going to be a pretty much rinse and repeat of what we'd expect it to be?
Other than that, no. I think we'll see the front three of Drynan. I think Ollie Palmer will start as well. He might go with Holman or he might go with Hoyle. I think the midfield will be as...
No Ola Kigby from the start?
No, Ola Kigby could play on the left wing back if we want to have a right go. And on the right wing back, we'll post Snowden. The 2-8s, hopefully Clark and Nichols with the playmaker as Kilkenny. It's a Kinsella. The back three, though, could be anything, to be quite honest. Because, though, he didn't mention Will Wright today. He said Tafazoli is not ready yet. Quite easily both of them could start. So I have no idea who we're going to play at the back. Just please not Ollie Clark. And we will know Rippers in goal. So I think the biggest surprise will be, if there is going to be any, is in the back three.
Okay. James, who we know is a big fan, says Ola Kigby will get the crowd going if he plays.
Oh, yeah.
As potentially could Junior Hoyle, as will Fletcher Holman. Actually, on saying that, I did have one more question I wanted to ask. Sorry, Barry, before we do the predictions. There was some scepticism from some corners of the Swindon Town fan base for the Ollie Clark call to arms letter, which some suggested he didn't write himself. Some suggested was just an AI PR stunt. And it certainly didn't work because although the fans came out, the players didn't last week. This week they've tried it again, but in different format. They've rolled out the most sung about player in the team at the minute and asked him to do a video message to the fans instead. Do you think it will have a differing outcome?
the only differing outcome I can see between the two, because they're both complete setups, is the fact that the video has almost a level of, what's the word I'm looking
authenticity.
For? Authenticity is probably close enough. It's almost there.
Gravitas.
It's just like a knee-jerk reaction to, oh shit, the letter didn't work. What can we try now? So, yeah, but they've just played on. Oh, he seems everyone's favourite. Let's go with this. So I don't know what they've got left in their media
and then
playbook.
They'll start him on the bench.
Not even in the squad.
Do you know
yeah.
what? It would be a complete head loss if the team's announced after that and he's on the bench or not in the squad entirely. It'd be like, you'll just see thousands of people leaving the county ground again. I'm not watching this shit.
They'll have Football Phil on the tannoy next week having a go.
All right, Barry, I'll stick with you then. Predictions for tomorrow, please.
4-2 Town.
Oh, what a game for everyone in attendance. Ben?
3-1 Swindon.
Oof. Woody?
Oh, everyone's gone high. I wanted to go high.
While you contemplate whether to go high or not, I like this from Pete, who says a Thunder Bastard from Bowden would be much appreciated. Going for 3-1.
How long before they? Because didn't Bowden play for Rovers at one point as well?
He did.
It's one of the. There's not many clubs in the
So
West.
when he misses an open goal, there'll be comments. Bowden's a gas hit.
Yeah. When Clark scores an own goal, it's difficult. But I do think we'll win. I think how we set up depends on what the scoreline's going to be.
Okay.
And what's interesting about it is Rovers. One thing I'll give to Steve Evans is he'll change it when it's shit, but he very rarely changes a good lineup. And I was just having a look against Grimsby; they paid 3-4-3. So whether we're going to match that or not.
James, I've just seen James' comment, like pure defending Bowden from being a gas head comments.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And didn't want to leave too far out of Wiltshire. Right, yeah, I'm going for it. I've got a bet on tomorrow as well, so if we do lose, it is my fault. I've said Fletcher Holman will score 2 and Swindon will win, so I'm going to go 3-0.
Okay, Rich?
I don't like this. I have no idea. I think it could go either way, but I'm gonna say 2-1 Swindon against my own will. 2-1 Swindon.
Greg says, as usual, Holloway will get the lineup wrong in the first half and we'll go 1-0 down. He will then fix it in the second half, but it'll be too late.
I was going to say it all depends on the lineup.
So we had, if I remember right there, we had a 2-1. 3-1, a 4-2. What was yours, sorry, Woody?
3-0.
You was 3-0.
Okay, so a 2-1, a 3-0, a 3-1, a 4-2.
0-0
I've already said both teams to score, which means guaranteed 0-0 as well. So let's just really compound the fact that it's going to be the most boring game in League 2 history. I'll go Swindon 5-1.
Oh, yes. I'd love that.
And then it'll be a completely different tone on Monday's show.
Nobody will be on Monday. You won't get this panel on Monday, Fivey, if the score's like that.
There are other things, of course, to comment on around Swindon Town, which we will do shortly to round off the show. What I do want to say at this juncture, if you haven't already seen it, is that I mentioned on Monday's episode, the Official Supporters Club are doing the end of season collection to go to the hospital. They've posted the details about it. I've shared it on our socials as well. If you are in a position to help, please do. I'm already reaching out to Chris to see if I can throw something in as a donation on our behalf as well. So hopefully a good solid collection can be done for those who would really appreciate it come the end of the football season. Before we talk about the fact that Swindon Town have somehow spent tens of millions and have no money and in very, very big numbers minus, apparently, if you believe everything you read, let's do the thing that everyone wants us to do at this time. And Woody, if I was to ask you where I should go on Sunday, but I wasn't sure what the right thing to do, where might I go to get that information?
I would tune in to Fools Rush In and get ready for Woody's Pick of the Week.
Woody's Women's Football Pick of the Week. Bassett, Swindon, and Corsham to see. One big match, the spotlight's clear. Your fixture focus starts right here. Woody's Pick of the Week.
Boom.
For the rest of the FRI panel, that is how you do a fucking link. Because I was so frustrated listening back Saturday to Woody asking every fucking one of them how to do it, and not one of them caught on to what he was saying. I was just like, fucking hell, lads, it's very obvious what he's trying to get at here. Go on then, Woody, talk us through, because there is a lot of action this weekend.
There is. Our three favoured teams are all in action. Unfortunately, geographic reasons is probably the reason for my pick of the week more than anything this week, because dare I say it, to be totally honest, I think there's a lot of games that you may see an upset, but you probably won't. So if we start with Corsham, who I know Dan has said in his presser that obviously they've got Poulton. They're not somebody to be underestimated. They are a team that can frustrate. As much as I kind of do agree in the notion, Poulton haven't won a single game this season in the 13 they've played. So so it's the way
We've just seen Wolves beat Villa, though, Woody.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of a difference there. But yeah, obviously Rich, I'm sure, will update us on any injury woes or anything like that. But I went out to watch.
The big question for Rich is: are we allowed to talk about guest players yet?
Guest players, yeah.
Well, I mean, it is documented online, so and I think it's
it's on the goddamn stinking portal.
It's on the goddamn stinking portal, and I think I think it's the best kept secret now, to be honest with you, and. Although it's not officially been announced on our socials.
By the way, I've told you about this. The fucking disrespect that you still haven't announced this officially.
She's even scored a goal.
She's even scored a goal.
I know. To be fair, I wasn't at training last night, so I have no idea as to why this hasn't been announced yet. But yeah, I'm gonna break cover anyway because it's the worst kept secret ever. So I'm going rogue here tonight, guys. So I will mention it, but yeah. Anyway,
go on,
carry on with it.
Now. Mention it.
Do your bit now, Rich.
Oh well,
exclusive.
Exclusive. Well, it's not really exclusive now, but Maddie Elliott has
6 days ago.
Yeah, Maddie Elliott has signed to Corsham from Royal Bassett.
That is brand new information.
What a signing! Oh my god, that can make such a difference.
So,
oh my god. I'll tell you what, she's going to score really important equalisers this season, I reckon. Sorry.
I know, by the way, fuck it, clip that, because I'm going to send that to her just so she can see at least we're fucking announcing shit for her.
Yeah. In fact, let's send it to Anna, and then she could use that as the announcement on Corsham's page.
Oh, but I wish I could have done that better. Hang on, can I redo that?
Oh, we got to redo it again, have we?
He's going to get the yellow tie on that transfer deadline.
Live or anything, Rich.
Breaking news, just come in.
Breaking news. Corsham Town women have signed the ultimate signing of the summer. No, I screwed it up. I need a script.
What's sacred?
Signing of the summer.
Signing of the summer. Signing of the winter. Breaking news.
Go.
Corsham Town women have made the signing of the winter. Corsham Town have announced that. That was brilliant. Put Barry on now.
No, finish your link first.
Finish your link. Live on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
Dildo in the ear and everything.
To all of Corsham's 100 million followers.
Breaking news.
All of
Corsham
them.
Town women have made the. Oh, Ben, you've screwed it up now. For God's
Oh my
sake.
fucking God!
Can I do it?
Yeah, can Ben do it?
Announce it.
Yeah,
Announce
get
it.
Ben to do it. Get Ben to do it.
And news just come in that Corsham Town have made a fantastic new signing. Breaking news as Maddie Elliott is set to sign a brand new deal with Corsham and is set to make her debut this weekend. This unbelievable news that is set to shock women's game is looking likely to happen, if not already over the line. Rich with the latest.
It happened last weekend.
I was going to say it happened last weekend. She made.
I know, but I thought I made the break-in.
Yeah, I like. Well done, Ben.
And
Guys,
I couldn't see
I
what
think
was
we need
said,
to
but
retire
then we
this.
see what was happening from the Bassett side of things.
Yeah, clip that. Brilliant.
Well done, boys. That was slick and professional as ever.
It's dreadful.
We're not doing very well, are we? Last week I'm
We're
dropping
not, no.
155 hints for you guys just to say Woody's pick of the week.
I know it.
which led to Ben's most successful article on women's football after that, by the way. Oh dear.
But yeah, that is the Fools exclusive
from a week ago.
And it was a good goal on Sunday, by the way.
It was a very good goal. It was a very good goal. We
Rich,
are trying to get
briefly,
the video.
Rich, very briefly, before we go back to Woody's pick of the week segment, what is the thought process about Sunday? We've heard what Woody's kind of had to say as a very brief build up. But what's the mood in the camp like? I know you said you weren't out training, but.
Yeah, no, I wasn't at training yesterday, but no, I think for us, obviously, like I say, we can't. I think where we are in the league, we can't take any team for granted. We've been a victim of that very recently. Oblita being in the cup, thankfully, and not affecting our league ambitions, but. I think we took maybe Brislington a little bit for granted when we lost to them, and they hadn't won a game all season. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Poulton did take points off Bitton just 2 weeks ago, and Bitton are another title rival of ours. So it's one of those ones where we've got to go in confident. We've got to know what we can bring to the party, and we know they're gonna. The thing with Poulton is that they lost 4-0 to Stockwood last week, but we can't take that because Poulton would have been rubbing their hands and thinking Stockwood was a game that they could have won. The chances of Poulton beating us, considering they haven't won a game all season, they're probably going to try and do a smash and grab like we did to Bassett a couple of weeks ago. So it's one of those ones we cannot take for granted. We've got to make sure that we break them down as best we can and come away with the 3 points, because that's the main thing. These are the games that we need to be taking the 3 points off, because they're really going to sort of affect where we finish this season. And if we drop points to teams that haven't won a game all season, then do we deserve to go up? I mean, that is the big question. So we've got to better other teams' results, and that starts on Sunday, because we've got 2 quite tricky fixtures on tricky pitches. So we've got Poulton this week, and then we got Downend the following week. And we know, well, me and Woody both know what Downend's pitch is like. It's basically a recreational ground. It's not very pleasant to play on. So, these 2 games are going to be very, very important for us to pick maximum points before going into the big Derby Day game against Bassett the following week. So March is going to be very busy for us, but we know what we've got to do, and we've got to make sure that every single leader goes out there and does the team proud and get the points for us, because that's all that matters at the moment.
I can't begin to tell you how disappointed I am. The reverse fixture of the FRI Derby is on Mother's Day. It's immensely disappointing. Okay, so Woody, that's the.
But you'll be there though.
Eh?
But you'll be there though.
No, I'll be having dinner with my mum. Is what I'll be doing. Woody, we've heard what Rich had to say about the caution game. What about the other games?
This one might have been my pick of the week. Potentially, I think it will probably be the best game of football. Potentially for both sides. Bath, Bassett, at Bath. I think Bassett have dropped down to 5th, given the fact that they didn't play last weekend. And I think even a win. I think unlike previous weeks, I think even a win here means they can't go top this weekend either. So there's a lot riding on it. However, Bath did play on tractor field on midweek. They lost to Bitton midweek, so it really depends. Bath are one of those sides that I think if they've got their strongest 11, they're a good side. If they haven't, they start to get fringes. Their weaknesses are quite easily exploited. They've got quite a young squad this year as well. So, I think it will. I mean, obviously, depending on what Bath's pitch looks like at the moment, given the recent weather, and I'm pretty sure it's still being played at Bath's ground. I don't think it's been moved elsewhere. Twerton Park on the website. So that won't be such a bad game of football, hopefully, for those who are travelling in that direction. But unfortunately, for our local teams, my pick of the week is at the county ground this week, which is obviously Swindon against Marine Academy Plymouth. That pesky Moneyfields, as they are relatively quoted on many podcasts now, not just us and Low Strangers. But it's Moneyfields have got Abingdon United at Abingdon, so there is where I don't personally think that Abingdon will have enough, but there is an opportunity for Abingdon to maybe do Swindon a bit of a favour there potentially. Whereas Swindon obviously still with that game in hand, still 1 point behind. They will be looking just to win their games, essentially, as silly as that may sound, because the game in hand, I think, might be coming in the next 2 weeks. But Marine Academy Plymouth obviously got promoted last year. They've not had a bad start to life in Tier 4. To be fair, they are 8th, but they have played 3 less games than 6 of the teams around them. So they're not, they picked up a few good wins this year, but a lot of their wins have been against those bottom half of the table teams. So I envisage that they'll come with a game plan to potentially frustrate Richard Wood's side. But that will be, obviously that's at the county ground. Who knows what we're going to do to the pitch tomorrow, what the men's are going to do to the pitch tomorrow. But obviously Povey is the best that Holloway has ever worked with. So I'm expecting it to be a carpet on Sunday as well. So, it will be an interesting game, I think. And obviously, it's been a while, I think, and Barry might stand me true. He might be the best person to stand me true here. I think it's been a while since we've had a men's game on a Saturday and a women's on the Sunday straight after. I think postponements have kind of stopped that from happening. It's be a good opportunity for diehard Swindon fans to get their full football fix.
Oh, I thought Barry was going to.
Yeah, I thought Barry was going to say.
I was sorry. I'm not going to lie. I was scribbling out a team sheet for myself for tomorrow, but it has been quite a while, I think, since it's actually been a back-to-back. Yeah, you're right.
Would it actually be Tranmere and Cheltenham that we went to, Woody, on what we called Fool's Weekend after our live show? Would that be the last one? Possibly?
That might possibly be the one. Because when you and I went, Barry, there wasn't a home game the day before, I don't think.
No.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I think it's it might well be. Which yeah. So hopefully, diehard Swindon
4 months
fans
ago.
who get a good feel of the football tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, hopefully that will give a nice little push in to try and get people through the door for the women's as well. I know on the Q&A thing they were talking quite positively about the crowds that are going into the women's games at the county ground. I still don't think the club do enough. Well, they do a bit, but they don't do enough to push that, in my opinion. But yeah, I always had this conspiracy theory that they wanted less crowds in there so they could argue next season that there won't be so many games on the county ground pitch. But given the hybrid pitch this year, it obviously allows a lot more of that to happen. But obviously Holloway did say that was the reason the Bournemouth game was called off. So yeah, that is my pick of the week. I think it will be a good game. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it, but yeah, I would probably recommend doing that if I was going to pick one.
As normally happens when something big drops like this, I caveat anything that's about to be said with the fact that I'm not nearly intelligent enough to fully understand it. I've also not, in the interest of full transparency, I've not given it the time to properly read into it and try and understand. However, everyone here will have seen the I'm sure clickbait headlines that Swindon Town are fucking pissing money away at the moment and seem to be, depending on who you listen to, anywhere between 10 and 20 million pounds in debt. Has anyone looked any further than just the headline? Does anyone have any thoughts on this? Is it really a surprise? Are we in trouble? What's people's thoughts on this?
I thought it's something we already knew, really, and that we owe Clem between 10 and 17 million, and that he's been bankrolling it up till now. And it's the amount of debt owed to him that's the problem. So yeah, this is new. The fact that it's official and it's on paper, it's just nice the club released the figures to Company's House and unloaded them in time.
Club didn't release them.
I thought it was on Company's House.
No, it's on Company's House, but club didn't officially announce it themselves, did they?
Well, their club uploaded them on time. You know, they have been known to not post until you absolutely have to. So, but I mean, yeah, it's nothing. Transparency. Yeah, it's nothing you didn't know.
On transparency, didn't they?
Mm.
But you know that hasn't happened, has it? So you know we've had to find out from a third party in regards to what's actually happening. So
Ben's gone with the approach of it's nothing we didn't already know. Rich seems still a bit.
I would say the same, to be fair. No, I'd probably add to that and just say, yeah, no, Clem's made no secret that he's controlling this, so I don't know why we would be so surprised as to what the damage has been done, to be fair.
Good evening, Lady Joan. Joe's here, says hello, gents. Sorry, late to pod, but we'll watch back. Please do. It's been an interesting episode. Barry is struggling to connect. He's disappeared momentarily. Woody, you're the only one who hasn't said anything. Do you have anything to add to this particular topic?
Well, like the lad said, it's probably nothing we didn't already know. We got to remember it's up to May last year as well, so it's not the current year. The other thing is I'm not really. I know I get Richard's point that the club haven't released it, but not many football clubs will announce that their accounts have been uploaded to the Company's House. That's just a statute that they are supposed to do. But yeah, so it's just there's the eagle-eyed people that look out for those type of things and probably subscribe to the alerts on Company's House for it. It does. I mean, my biggest thing on it at the moment, we knew we owe Clem money. We know that he's been bankrolling. It probably, if anything, probably backs my worry about this season so far. Is where is the money coming from for all these wages? And if if we don't go up, it's even worse. So that's just backed up my worries, those accounts, because if Clem is bankrolling the wages as well, that we will be paying for the likes of Ollie Palmer and Kilkenny's contract, and arguably I heard Fletcher Holman's on a fair whack as well. So if that's apparently that's what took it so long, was the contract negotiation. But the so it's if they're all on fair whacks, what's bankrolling that? I had a weird dream last night, actually, that I realised that Fitton has kind of disappeared off of those columns that he was doing with Joe Acklam, because he was doing a money, it was like a Q&A type thing, wasn't it? He's disappeared. So part of me was kind of almost in this mid-dream of going, like, maybe Fitton's kind of come in as a shadow, like a secret investor type thing. But yeah, which would be, in my eyes, quite good news. But the so it's nothing we didn't already know, as Ben said. I think the figures rising that quickly is a bit of a concern. But it's okay because it's all in control, because we've had a Q&A with Callum Knowles. So it's all in control, and we're being very, very transparent. But it's not good for the club, given that they've got less than 2 months until this in-person forum that's probably going to get cancelled because Anthony Hall forgot to book the Legends Lounge.
Or Clem's flight got cancelled from Australia.
One last thing before we sign off for the night. A couple of weeks ago, we were joined by Alf when he was previewing Oldham, and he promised to give a little scouting report. He has sent me a scouting report for tomorrow. He says, Swindon mustn't slip up now after all the hard work. Bristol Rovers were very competitive at Oldham despite losing 2-0. So if Swindon aren't up for it, a shock is on the cards. They've even got Quigley scoring goals, as their left winger in particular fires in some fine crosses. So there you go. There's Alf sending us the insight on Bristol Rovers tomorrow.
Wasn't it Quigley's first goal was against us, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah. It was, because he hadn't scored.
He hadn't scored for about 14 months.
Yeah.
It'd be shit. It'd be shit tomorrow. Then it's fine.
All that's left to say is, if you are travelling to the game tomorrow, enjoy the game. Be loud, be proud. Let's really get behind the team. They need us now more than ever. Do as Holman says, and let's all back the boys for what would be a huge 3 points, and hopefully the kickstart to the rest of our season. Ben and I in particular have been at hammer and tong all week about what the season's going to look like, and only one of us could be right, because it's very, very different, and we all hope that it's Ben and that I'm wrong. But yes, be loud, be proud. If you can, get involved in whatever aspect of the Her Game 2 stuff that you can tomorrow as well. Embrace the opportunity and support the cause. It's fantastic. And as we say, there is stuff out there about donations for the end of season collection as well. My thanks to our guests this evening, as well as the fools that you see on the screen. And from myself and everyone at FRI HQ, have a fantastic weekend. We will be back on Monday. February will be over. We're into March, and all chaos will ensue. Good night. Have a great weekend.
Fools rushing! Yeah, we're back again. Like mates down the pub, heart on sleeve, never tame. Yeah. From the chanting in the stands to the tackles flying in. Home and away, red blood, white shirt, where the fools rush in. Passion, debate, slaps, rants, late nights, Woody Bear, Nick Rich, Walter Kieran side by side, Craig and Ned, Joe and Mark, Art, Gar, Gary in the dark, and now we got Barry in. Yeah!
Chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last minute swing, just like back in Swindon's time.
We go up, we fall down.
Forever chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last-minute swing, just like back in Swindon Town.
We go up, we fall down. Fools rushing.